Good morning, everyone. It's February 24th, 2019. Americans call their government America's top problem. Finally, here. Record high named government as most important problem and reported that out of the list of 47 national problems, the top 10 that were selected and the percentage of respondents who selected each were. Check it out. Very top top title, or whatever you want to call it. The government or poor leadership, with 35% of respondents claiming that was the biggest problem America has. Next in line was immigration. And this did not come about when in 2005 it was about 5%. Because of Trump's presidency, it now boasts a 19% rate, I guess you could say, of people who are concerned about this. But if you look through this list, there's other things that probably should come before immigration. Nothing should come before the number one slot, because that is our biggest problem. Now, if you were to take care of this problem here, the government, all of the rest of the problems would kind of fix themselves. But down at the bottom, the very last thing people were concerned about, education. No wonder you guys are a bunch of dumb motherfuckers. Education should be like number 2, number 3, maybe. And then up from there was the lack of respect for each other. People are not concerned with this. The economy in general, with 3%. Federal budget deficit, federal debt, 3%. Ethics, moral, religious, family decline, 3%. Environmental or pollution, 3%. Poverty, hunger, and homelessness, 3%. So, or 4% rather. Unifying the country, 4%. Race relations, racism, 5%. So, at least people recognize the number one problem as being the government. So, more than a third of Americans think that the government or poor leadership is the top problem in our country. And it is. That's almost twice the percentage listed, the second from the top option, immigration, as being this. The third most frequently chosen option was healthcare, as I mentioned. So, now they have a little who's more popular fucking part here of the world leaders. World leaders, they're all equally as corrupt as each other. They're all pedophiles or have some kind of sick, disgusting secret that's more than likely being held over their heads. Let me see here. In turn, the third most frequently chosen option was healthcare, mentioned by a third as many respondents as listed immigration. And healthcare in the United States is the worst and by far the costliest in all of the developed nations. So it's a system that's extraordinarily rotten and corrupt, and thus obviously an enormous U.S. problem. And immigration wasn't high on these lists until Trump presidency, which raised it from virtually nowhere, such as 5% in 2005 to 19% today. So it's only high on the list now due to propaganda and not reality. Consequently, this government does not represent the American people is a fact which is beyond any reasonable doubt. How validly can one call such a country a democracy if democracy is being defined as government that represents the people? Here are other indications that the U.S. is in truth a dictatorship. The number one thing they have here is our prison population. America has the world's highest percentage of its people in prison, the highest percentage in prison of any nation on the planet. If this means that it's a police state, then the U.S. already is leading the world as being just that. Every other nation can reasonably look down upon America as having the highest percentage of its residents being in prison, and this American condition is entirely inconsistent with the country being a democracy. Of course, the U.S. also allows the death penalty, but that punishment is rarely imposed now because of the international embarrassment. Not to mention, a few of these people ended up being innocent, and they killed them for nothing. On July 18th, 2018, David Lauer, I think that's right, at Axios headlined, comparing the popularities of leading world leaders. And Justin Trudeau, of all people, got a 55% approval rating. Donald Trump is at 40%. And it doesn't matter because, again, they're all equally as corrupt. They all have seriously fucked up skeletons in their closets. And god damn it, I wish all these skeletons would be aired out for everyone to see. Earlier polled national job approval ratings show, well, you know what, I'm not going to get into job approval ratings. Down here, we see that the United States is the only country in the world that has been scientifically analyzed regarding its degree of dictatorship or else democracy. And the results were clear that it is a $1, one vote controlled country. It's not actually controlled in one person, one vote basis. It's a dictatorship. In other words, it is an aristocracy. The richest rule here. It's not a democracy of any type. And remember, the Founding Fathers did not want a democracy in the first place. They wanted a republic. What the fuck just happened? There we go. So we're meant to be a republic, which in my opinion is no better than a democracy, and a democracy is really not any better than a one-man dictatorship. It's just you, the 49%, being forced to comply with the 51%. Excuse me. Okay, so the United States has been scientifically analyzed and has been found to be the exact opposite, pretty much, of a democracy. In conclusion, one may say that internationally the aristocracy has imposed in many, if not most nations, the ways and means to corrupt the government so profoundly that the aristocracy actually reign, but this hasn't happened uniformly throughout the world. And only in the United States has it been scientifically proven that the government is a dictatorship. Elsewhere, there is at least the possibility to question whether a nation is a dictatorial, and if so, to what extent. But unquestionably, the U.S. is. And according to the latest Gallup poll on the nation's top problem, a stunningly high percentage, even of Americans, are now sensing that this is true. Short of performing a scientific analysis, however, the most reliable indicator of whether or not a given nation is a democracy might reasonably be that the higher the percentage of its people who are in prison, the lower is the given nation's democracy quotient, and that the lower this percentage is, the more democratic the government is. After all, either a military dictatorship or a police state is clearly not a democracy, no matter how much the given nation's constitution and other formalities say it is. So to summarize here, we have 35% of the American people who say the government and poor leadership are the top problem of the United States. And we have been scientifically proven as a country to be a dictatorship to the aristocracy. And that we have the highest prison population, and that means that we have the least amount of democracy, right? The least amount of freedom. And we, after all, are both a military dictatorship and a police state at the very same time. Anyway, I thought I'd share this one with you. I hope everyone has a great day. Until next time, kill the state before the state kills you.